Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Lost Sheep Podcast. I am Evan Abear here with
Cole Bissett
and
Zario Pangala.
it's been a while since I've been in the middle, and it's a while since we've recorded one of these. So, we are back from winter break, from Christmas break. Happy New Year's to you all. But let's get a quick update on how life's been, what we did over break and whatnot. Do you want to go first, Cole?
Sure, I can go first. So we started break.
And keep it short.
Yeah,
he just
I'll keep
said
it pretty
it
quick.
started with.
Well, I was
like
gonna
he
say we
gonna
started break,
release a
all three of us.
dissertation. Oh, okay.
We
there
all
go.
three started
in the
break.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning was the word. Yeah, we all started break with the idea that we were gonna record podcasts over Christmas break. We split up our microphones and everything, and I kid you not, the Lost Sheep Podcast group chat, which is there's a sheep logo and everything, did not. I don't think there was a single text message
It went
sent.
dormant. As
It was there were crickets. You could hear the crickets as break went along. So we apologize for the lack of episodes over break. We really decided just to spend the time with some family and enjoy it amongst ourselves. So I hope y'all had a great Christmas break. Mine was phenomenal. A lot of awesome stuff. Got to go to Ohio. Got to ski. Got to see some old friends. It was just it was a busy break and really enjoyable. My whole dad's side of family came down, and have y'all heard of the anthropology rock prank? You guys have definitely seen the trend. The anthropology rock.
what?
Hey, Evan, is it just me, or do you have zero clue what he's talking about?
Yeah,
'Cause
I've
no
Oh,
I've
you've
got
seen the
no
anthropology?
idea.
Wow, it's
Like
so huge.
Anthropology, the store?
Yeah, so there's this trend that
You said that like I was saying exactly what the trend was. No, I have no idea what this is.
No, but it is about. There's
Okay.
this trend that Anthropology is selling, and they made up a fake website for this and all, a rock. And so during Christmas, everybody knows it except for the one person, like the grandfather, and so you just
you
give
played a
somebody
prank on your
rock.
old
Yeah, we did it. It
grandfather?
was amazing. So we gave our grandmother. I asked my grandfather for $100, and I told him each of my cousins spent $50, and we opened this gift and gave it to my grandmother, and she freaked out, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's the Anthropology rock!" And my grandfather was like, it's a rock. And he's like, "What? Does it have layers or something?" We literally got it off of our driveway. He was dying. I mean, had no clue the whole time. It was the funniest thing in the world. My aunt was like crying when she was presenting the gift, like saying it meant so much to her that she was giving. I mean, we were selling this, and it was great. By far, one of the
torture.
most entertaining.
I would term it as torture.
Yeah,
Their
this
poor
sounds like the
grandmother.
worst prank ever. Well, like
it was so good.
sounds like
Your
your grandfather
grandma,
did
right?
not have it. This is Christmas.
I'll show you all the
bro.
video
Like,
afterwards. I took a video of the whole thing. It was amazing. But
it-
yeah.
It was mean.
How about yours, Nazario? How was your break?
You know, mine was full of good gift giving.
Did you play
and
any evil pranks on your grandparents who
not.
love you very much?
Trying to think. I feel like there was. Oh no! I know
okay,
who did
yeah.
another prank. Him. He pulled another prank during Christmas
I did
break.
I did pull a prank during
And,
Christmas break.
You know, I will allow not. You know, I won't disclose that information. But he didn't. He performed more than one prank over Christmas break. And yeah, but my Christmas break was pretty good. Evan, for the first 2 weeks, I don't know if you knew about this, but I actually took part in taking pictures of Santa Claus with little kids.
That was his. That was his job.
Were you
over break.
Santa Claus? Or
No,
were you
I
taking
was
pictures?
an elf. I was taking pictures.
Oh,
Yes, it was a joyous
dude, do we have pictures of him in the elf costume?
No, he didn't. He didn't dress up, dude. It actually was so upsetting. He did not.
There
dress
was
up.
no dress up.
No,
ever.
he was just.
I had an apron on. A red.
I'm
apron.
texting your mother.
It's terrible. We told him he needed ears, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah. you
Speaking
need
of, while you were
ears.
at the mall, you came up
Yeah.
with a great gift idea for me. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
Evan,
it.
and yeah, see, good gift giver over here.
Yep.
Him on a different.
Bad,
We don't know about you yet, but
bad gift giver.
Yeah.
I'm a good gift giver.
so I was sitting at the mall during my job, and we see a Build-A-Bear workshop over there, and I'm like, it would be hilarious to give
Mhm.
Cole a Build-A-Bear with my voice in it. So I go over there, and I purchase a Build-A-Bear, put my voice in there, and give it to Cole. So now, whenever he is lonely or misses me, which could be a lot after this upcoming semester, he can now play my voice through the Build-A-Bear and never have to worry.
And it has a Wicked T-shirt on it too, so it's like it's legit. So
I'm
Yes,
worried.
lots of fun, joyous times over my Christmas break. Evan,
I'm worried.
what about your gift giving?
yeah, how was
Mine
your
was good. I had a good Christmas. I got to see. Was in. Just telling y'all, I was in Nashville a little bit. I was in Atlanta a little bit. I was in Houston. So did quite a little bit of traveling, driving around, things like that. But it was good. It was nice and restful. But I am excited to be back starting school. I feel a little bit Marines like today. We the MBA only has class Monday through Thursday, and so we've gone to all of our classes now for this semester. And after going to syllabus day for all of them, I hate to say this, but like I feel like the first semester was like, oh, we need to break them down, like we need to kill them, and the second semester is like, yeah, like you did all that, like good job. Now you get to like relax, because I'm going through all the syllabuses, and I'm like, this is like there's no work. Like I feel like I'm gonna have a really easy semester. Knock on wood, which is what I kind of said
wood, pal. You better
last
keep knocking.
semester. Yeah. So we'll see. But anyway, without further ado, we will get right into our quote. And I do want to say, hold on, before you, or let's intro first. Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the quote of the week.
You know, I'd like to say that y'all were blaming me for my transitions. That was a pretty poor transition. I think there was
Oh, we are
some
in a
smooth-
new year. It is
So
new year.
without
2026.
further ado,
There'll be no negative talk like that.
without
Only
further
positivity.
ado, yeah. So I'm disappointed in these two, mainly Cole, because for a little bit of lost sheep,
little bit
group chat lore, I never give quotes. That's just a fact. I never give quotes. And so Cole always gets on my case. He's like, oh, when are you going to give a quote? And so this week, Cole asked for a quote, and I think probably 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
His
It wasn't
fastest
even 20.
response
It literally
like,
was
it was
5
like,
minutes.
it was like, yeah, 3 minutes
Yeah.
after I like immediately put a quote in, and Cole didn't say anything.
I like the message.
He didn't
There
even
was there
laud
was an
like, oh my
acknowledgement.
gosh, thank you for giving a quote, Evan. No, nothing. I felt like Daffy Duck in this situation. But anyway, without further ado, our quote this week comes from John Maxwell, who is a pastor, I believe, of a church in Florida. Nazario can fact check that. But he's also an author. He's got some books, just your kind of a guy. But the quote is, "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily." So that quote again is, "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily." And if either of you have a particular inclination to start us off with first thoughts, I'm sure that this guy over here is going to have a definition at some point or another. He already has it pulled up. He's showing us.
That's all right. I'll take this one first. Just John Maxwell, pretty cool, leadership speaker guy. Actually has 1.7 million followers on Instagram,
Wow.
along with being a pastor. So, he's a coach, just a trainer. He just leads people apparently. So
That's
he would have
impressive.
been a good shepherd
Yeah.
along with this quote. If we would have done that, but we did not do that. However, when thinking about this quote, it just popped into my head. My mom's New Year's resolution, shout out mom, hope she doesn't care of me telling her, she won't. It's very simple. And it goes perfectly along with the quote. And she said her whole New Year's resolution, it's all it is to get up every day and make her bed. And I think this goes along perfectly with what our quote's trying to say, that you will never change your life until you change something daily. And when you look at this quote, you can think of, all right, what do I need to do? How many different things do I need to change? How can I do this to change my life? Well, really, it can be one simple thing, like getting up and making your bed every day. So that's my basic thing. Cole, let's hear what definition you got over there.
Well, hold on. I really like this.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of down the same path now as your mom. I don't like New Year's resolutions particularly much. I think they're kind of goofy, and we tend not to keep them anyway. So I think just goal setting.
I know one guy
is a
who
better
keeps them really
term.
well, Cole. Father Mugaga.
Father
he
Mugaga does
makes,
keep
New
him
Year's
really
resolutions.
Only he would understand.
Okay. Anyway, but I've just resolved to drink a water bottle a day. Like I'm terrible at drinking water, but it's
What
like
size?
it's like a 32 ounce,
Okay.
like a Nalgene or something.
You're not a water drinker?
I'm not a water drinker. I hate
Okay.
the way water tastes. Just in general, I don't like that it's tasteless.
Hey, you know
like,
what?
You know,
You can do this.
Yeah,
32
yeah.
ounces?
But, like,
Bang.
I'm like I make it fun. I made it fun. I wish I had my water bottle. I really would
It's
get
a
it,
little
but
bit
like
far away.
I have it's like a Frankenstein water bottle. I've taken the bottom of an Nalgene and screwed on a bike water bottle top to it, and so it only comes out a little bit. I'm like a gerbil, like drinking my water, like you know. So it's fun and rewarding. He's still dying over here for the
What's
people on
happening?
audio. Cole is just cracking up. But yeah, I wholly agree. It's just starting with that one little thing. So
He's not ready. He's not ready.
Sorry,
yet,
he
folks.
just
What's going on over
he
here?
he just unlocked an old memory of mine. That was really funny. I forgot about that. Thank you for that joyous reminder of my day. What was I gonna say? It's gone. Habits is what I defined really, really quickly. It is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. In the Catholic Church, it's a long, loose garment worn by a member of the religious order as well. So that doesn't pertain to
habit?
anything.
Yeah, I have a question. Where did you pull that from?
The dictionary.
No. I mean, like, why did you pick the word habit?
Because we're talking about changing things daily, and I was talking about him with his mom and like her New Year's resolution. I feel like it's very like building habits is exactly how you change your life. And I remember starting last year. It was for me. It was like my habit that I wanted to do was work out every morning Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, one of the two. And for the longest time, like this was the greatest year of New Year's resolutions for me. For some odd,
2025 was.
it was crazy. Like I was locked in. I was pretty strict and pretty good with my stuff, and it went great until I got sick mid-semester, and then the workout routine kind of fell off the wall. But we are back, and I think building those habits is how you change. Like if you want to achieve bigger goals, it's starting with the smaller ones first and working your way to that. And what I've noticed is that when you align your little goals and your small goals in the direction that your big goal is facing, you're gonna move a lot faster than we talk about pursuing excellence all the time and how it's that rather than pursuing perfection, right? Like if you just have if you're here and you're looking here, this is the end, this is the beginning, then it's a lot harder to cross this canyon, right? If you're looking, how can I jump from this side to this side of this chair? Rather than, okay, how do I scale down this cliff and walk across and then scale back up? Because if you break it down in a lot more of those little pieces, the journey seems a lot less difficult. And I think that's exactly what our faith looks like. Sometimes we see it as a black and white. I'm on earth. How do I get to heaven? I'm getting to heaven. That's my goal. That's exactly what to do. Except we forget the fact that we're on earth right now. And so what do we do? And if we want to get to heaven is make our little goals on earth, like bring people with us, allow people to go on this journey with us. We want to have these little goals of building tendencies and prayers in our daily life. And that is the best way to achieve that end goal that we want, rather than focusing so far forward that we forget where we're at. And I think that's what 2026 should resemble for me, especially. Like I do that a lot where I'm just like locked in on like what's in front of me because I overthink. That's just a tendency of mine. And it's something that I would like to correct this year. I don't know if y'all are the same way with how you roll, but I'm excited for this year for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like at the beginning of the semester, we all can kind of feel this beginning anxiety of like, okay, this is a whole new class thing. You don't know how difficult they're going to be. And you're like, I got to pass these classes. I got to move forward with my degree, whether it be your undergraduate, your master's, whether you're graduating, trying to find a job. You're like, oh my gosh, like I need to like lock in on these classes. Like I need to pass them. And that was kind of me the past few days. And I was like, oh gosh, this is like looking at the rate my professor for a couple things and like looking at what the style of the class was like. Oh man, like I don't know how the grade's gonna go. And then I was texting Cole about this. Like this social psych teacher comes in, and I had read from his rate my professor like, yeah, he's cool, but his style of grading just sucks because it's all exams. And I'm like, yeah. And then so I'm like all down like, oh my gosh, these exams. And he comes in, and I was telling Cole, he's from Chicago. And you can tell this man is from Chicago, and it's hilarious. But he is like dialed, and he's like telling us, if you're worried about your grade the whole time, it's gonna be worse for you. But if you're focused on, hey, this is a chance to learn. This is a chance I get to actually do something that I enjoy and is interesting. Like your performance is better. And so I have a lot of different things in my mind right now, trying to think of how do I go forward with this quote. But that's what I want to touch on is that you got, as you said, Cole, you got to be locked in on the little things. And if you focus on the little things first, then everything goes from there. And I want to say one thing. So obviously Cole wanted to work out last year. We started that spring semester, and he wanted to bulk and everything like that. So for me, I'd always been decent at working out because I had played sports for such a long time. We really focused on working out. Cole was cross country guy, so they don't hit the gym as much. We'll say.
Never.
But he really wanted to do this, and I was like, yeah, cool, just come with me because I know Cole, when he has somebody else, helps him a lot more. So how did I benefit from that? Well, Cole is about waking up in the morning and getting most of his day, no matter how late he stays up at night, no matter how bad that may be for his sleep schedule. And so this is where it helped me. Obviously, I wanted to work out, but Cole wanted to work out in the morning. I had to get up. And this completely reoriented my body because I don't sleep in anymore. And this is crazy. I can't sleep in anymore. We all look at one guy. That's why. It's over there. And he changed my entire thinking by changing one thing. He just changed, hey, we're waking up in the morning. And now I have, taken on his vision of, I need more of my day. I need to wake up because there's things to do that I can do in the morning. And so it's one simple thing like that really can change everything. That's a little bit of a lot right there, but that's kind of my thoughts right there. Evan, you haven't talked in a little bit. What you got?
I was just gonna say, this incremental goal setting is good, but it's always one of those things where, you always have to have the end goal in mind. So, you talk about
Do you?
I think so. I think so.
Do you really?
Yeah, because so for example, your class, right? If you're always worried about your grade, great, whatever. If you're always worried about having fun or learning, right? That's good too. But the end goal in the class is still the same, right? The end goal in the class is to pass, right? To pass the class. And so if you don't have that in mind, I could love learning stuff, right? I could love showing up to class. I could love that. But if my goal, I don't have the goal in mind of I want to pass this, then I'm not really going to do the work, right? I'm not going to really do whatever it is. And so again, if your New Year's resolution, if your goal is to, work out every day, what does the little stuff look like, right? Why am I waking up and doing this, right? Professional athletes always talk about this, right? They're like, why, at the end of the season, when you look back on these, on these great teams that we talk about, and they're like, how did we get here? Okay, well, the team posted up that, at the beginning of the year, our goal was to make the Super Bowl, right? Or make the NFC, be the NFC champions or whatever, right? And reporters were like, oh, that's awesome. You always had that goal in mind. They're like, yeah, but it never got, it was never one of those things where we're on week 13 and we're like, guys, we're not accomplishing our goal of being NFC champions. That's not what those teams do, right? The real thing is, are we accomplishing our goal by, going to workouts? Are we accomplishing our goal by eating right? Are we accomplishing our goal by doing the little things, right? Those micro goals in order to reach that bigger goal, right? But they don't do those things because of those things. I don't, if I'm on a professional sports team, I don't go to a Saturday workout because, I necessarily enjoy that. All right. Some people do, right? Some people enjoy those early morning Saturday workouts. I wasn't particularly one of those guys, but I do that because I know what fruit it bears further down the line, right? I know what fruit it bears towards that bigger goal. And again, if I don't have that larger goal in mind, right, then there's no point to doing it in my mind. There's no general satisfaction for me. And this, I'm tying this back in. I promise there's a point.
Mm-hmm.
This goes right back to the point of, if this arm of the chair, and I realize during that analogy our listeners are cooked because they can't see where your hands are. So, if there's this big chasm between earth and heaven, where we are and where we want to be, right? If we don't know where we want to be, how are we supposed to make the decisions? Why does it matter, right? So if we don't know about heaven, if we have no idea that heaven exists, right? Why are we changing our daily life, right? For some internal satisfaction, for some pleasure, for some, extrinsic reason that's not of Christ and not of heaven ultimately. And so that's when we fall into traps of we call it running the rat race, right? I don't really have this morality. I don't have a good moral compass. So I'm seeing what, this goal, right? Here's my goal. I want to make $100,000 a year. Cool. What does that goal mean in the grand scheme of things? Nothing. And that's why it's not lasting, right? And so when you get into this, right, all these micro goals are really oriented, exactly like you said, facing towards that ultimate goal. And so, yeah, if you don't have that ultimate goal, it's really hard to set all those micro goals, and it's hard to do those without any motivation. So,
Yeah, I really like that. Something that like I think goes along with that line is like the phrase "trust the process and you'll see the progress." Like,
Yes, Joel.
and it's just very what's up?
I said yes, Joel.
Oh, thank you. But, yeah, like, and I think that's a reality. Like, if you live in the process, right? You wanna achieve this goal. You have it set. If you live in the process and like fully allow yourself to thrive in that, then you're gonna see the progress. And I think that's so true with our faith, especially. I think the first point going into 2026, like this is the way I evaluate like what I want to do is like for me when I go into 26. I think the most important step is to look down and see where you are. And like an honest reflection of where you are. Like be honest with yourself. Look at your feet and see where you're standing. Look at what's around you and see what you're surrounded with. What items you have, the people you surround yourself, the things you participate in. Those are all important things and like a really good points to evaluate as you move forward. Because I think a lot of the times we're kind of scared of who we are. And we look down and we're like, I'm not really where I want to be. And then I think the next step is to look forward. Where do I want to go? All right. What do I want to replace these items? What do I want to replace these things? What people do I want to surround myself? And so you look off and it seems distant, right? Like the road is cloudy. It is not bright as day. It is not a hop, skip, and a jump away. That is not how our faith works. But we have 365 days in a year. 2026, 365 days in a year. I was listening. There was a friend of mine from back home who actually did our logo, and she said one of her posts recently was like 2025 may not have been your year, but does that concept actually really exist? Like, is any year ever going to be your year? No, but it's just a step in the journey to the ultimate year, and that year is heaven, right? And so I think if we trust the process, the 365-day process that we have, we're going to see that little jump, right? If we break it down into year increments, which is what we're doing, then our whole life of our faith becomes so much more manageable. It's doable. We have 12 months in a year. Break it down into a month. Break it down to a week. Break it down to a day. We talked about spiritual success right before we did this episode, the week before. And one of your things was, what did we define as spiritual success in our life? For some people, I remember you saying, it might just be daily prayer. Like it might be like a 5-minute, like little thing. Like that can change so much in 365 days of your year. And the smaller you start, the bigger you're going to get. So,
yeah. And I want to go back to the beginning when you talked about, like taking account of what you have. I think that's super huge because I think, and this goes back to why I dislike New Year's resolutions really, but I think a lot of people, they're like, oh man, this New Year, new me thing where they're like, yes, I have never worked out a day in my life, but I'm going to work out every day this year. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, respectfully, you're never going to do that, right? Because you've never done it, right? That's a terrible way to start. You are lining yourself up for failure. So I'm reading from Luke 14, just to show we're not crazy people. This is starting with verse 28, and it says, "Which of you wishing to construct a tower does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if there is enough for its completion? Good. Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, the onlookers should laugh at him and say, 'This one began to build but did not have the resources to finish.' Or what king marching into battle would not first sit down and decide whether, with 10,000 troops, he can successfully oppose another king advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he is still far away, he will send a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, every one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple." That was kind of tossed in there at the end. But 28 through 32 is really what I kind of want to focus on. And it's this idea of, again, of setting big goals, but being realistic about them, right? Setting a goal and being realistic about it. And that starts with the daily things, right? Again, if I never work out a day in my life, maybe I don't start with, I want to work out every day. Maybe I start with, like I want to do some form of exercise 3 times a week, right? Whether that's walk, whether that's get outside, period, whether that's whatever. If I don't pray, it doesn't look like launching a holy hour every day. That's a terrible idea. You're not set up for success. You're never going to keep that schedule. But maybe it looks like 5 minutes. Maybe it looks like 10 minutes. Maybe it looks like coming to a friend and saying, "Hey, I never pray and I'm really bad at it and I want to be better at it. Will you pray with me at this time?" A roommate is a great person for that. Shout out you two, right? Things like that. But again, it's taking stock of like exactly what you said. It's taking stock of what you have before and what you're able to do and what you're capable of doing. Because without that, I mean, you do have to be realistic about what you can do, and who you are. And if we're not that, then we're kind of lying to ourselves, right?
Yeah, and something I want to bring up, and this is probably a good idea that would have been like absolutely perfect for the shepherd of the week this week, but he's not the shepherd this week. His story is absolutely incredible. I think if you look at somebody who truly has made a transformation in a year and started with these small goals, and y'all are going to be totally thrown back if you haven't seen this episode yet, and I'm not endorsing the Joe Rogan podcast. It's up to your choosing. But Jelly Roll recently got on there, and I watched it, and it truly was one of the most insane life stories I'd ever heard. Like, one thing that is so undervalued is an addiction of eating, right? Because it's not something that you like. It's not like if you had a drug addiction, right? Like, you have to eat. Like, there's nothing, no escape. Like, you have to eat breakfast, you have to eat lunch, you have to eat dinner. That's how we survive. We live off of food. And so it's not something that you can completely eradicate. And him talking about his journey of how in the world he was, how do you break that? He had started so many times where he'd be like, I do it. And he was like, it was just this roller coaster. He was like, I'd lose 10 pounds and then I would gain 15. And it was like this. And he was like, it's fluctuating. And then all it took was one moment for him. And I think it was like, this was probably like the most like joyful part of this podcast, is he got to the point where he like fully started this journey. And it was the smallest thing. He was like, I'm just going to walk around the neighborhood. And he started to walk. And his entire family was like, there's no way he's going to do this and everything. Like, it's just going to be another letdown. But they still supported him along the way. And that when he finished that walk and he was like dying, I mean, like severely overweight, and he came down around that corner and his parents and his family was all standing there cheering. And he was in tears and they were all sobbing because like that was the start of his journey. And this weight loss thing is a thing that's transcended upon years. And like he still is on this journey, and he's still on the journey with his faith too. And talk about seeing something real and somebody not look from this to this. That's how you do it. I mean, watching somebody break an addiction like that and truly transform the way he lives his life is incredible. So if you're looking for like a really cool story about like somebody who's really motivated and like understood what it meant to set a little goal, like go watch that episode. I promise it's worth the watch. It's a little vulgar, but that's Joe Rogan, so you'll get used to that. But it was just, I mean, absolutely incredible story if you get the time to go listen to that. But yeah,
What an interesting feller too.
yeah, he is very interesting.
Jelly Roll. He like the first time I heard of him was somebody was like, "Oh yeah, look at this Christian rapper," and it was just not. He was just not a Christian rapper.
No,
Never heard him be termed as that before in my
I
life.
know. I was like, I completely got lied to. Honestly, it wasn't even close. But yeah. Anyway, funny. I think the only really other thing you said, you had some more stuff, but the only thing I really wanted to touch on is just, and kind of the whole we've revolved around this New Year's resolutions type of stuff. But I think the big one is just like you gotta do it. I think, take stock of what you have. Obviously you want to set big goals, but then the other thing is like you have to get out and do it, right? Good teams execute. Following the sports metaphor, right? Like everybody can prepare. Again, you can have Saturday practices. You can have, all this stuff. Every professional team ever has had like things in the locker room that helps them. I guarantee that the 3-14 Cardinals, 3-15,
14.
3-14
games season.
3-14 Cardinals, and the 14-3 Jaguars or Seahawks or any one of these teams had things posted in their locker room, had goals, had coaches that wanted to drive them, had team leaders, had, these sayings and mottos and stuff, had hard practices, had late nights, had early mornings, had film sessions, all this stuff. But the difference between those two teams is one's a little bit better than the other, but also execution. One team got on that field on Sunday or Saturday or Friday or Thursday or Monday or Tuesday this season, actually, or Wednesday. There was one Wednesday game. One team got on that field and executed and did things well, right? They set their goals and they did it. And so that's the big thing at the end of the day, right? You will never change your life until you change something you do daily, something that you do. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping anybody else by not doing it. right? So if you just say it, it's pretty useless, right? Again, you're lying to yourself. Don't do that. That's bad. Lying to yourself is bad. But when it becomes something that you do daily, that you're realistic about, that you're committed to, that's when the change happens. That's when, you start to see transformation. That's when you start to see your goals realized, right? And when you start putting these building blocks onto your big goals. And so, a great part of that, a great, fantastic part of doing everything we're talking about, we will just see here in a second with our PPP.
Ladies and gentlemen, the practical prayer practice of the week.
Do you wanna start us, or do I want to start us? Or?
I can.
Okay.
I can. So our PPP for this week, and I told Nazario I'd do this segment intro in British accent real quick. So our PPP for this week is a daily examine.
He doesn't even
that's our
sound
PP.
British.
Just kidding.
Doesn't even sound British.
No, it's not.
Good
Our
try, Cole. I appreciate the effort.
I got
Yeah.
you.
Way to
Can you
keep up your
sing
end of the
next?
bargain.
Like,
Can I
you
sing?
chant
Dude, I
the
was
whole
talking to him
section?
about that. If there is a Lashi podcast episode where we sing Rewrite the Stars, it's for like 10 seconds, and I can't find it. I'm going to find it. And he doesn't remember it, but I want to go back so
No,
I can.
I wasn't an episode I was on. That's
No, it
for
wasn't. It was the
sure.
two of us.
Yeah.
It'll be a funny blooper to find
Dorm
now.
room episode.
No, I think it was. I think it was our schmoozing episode, but we'll figure it out. But anyways, it's a daily examine, and before we say what that looks like for you guys, I think what the daily examine should look like for us is, every single time we get this motivation every once in a while to set goals for the podcast. We're like, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to do this X amount of times, and this is where we're going to do it. And I think what this should serve as a reminder for all three of us is like, okay, like let's set those little goals. Let's grow. Like let's make this podcast what it can be and really work towards that. So I think that's what our PPP is going to be for this week. But for you guys, what I would encourage for this week with the daily examine is I think a morning exam is best because you get the opportunity to wake up and look at your day and examine how you want to deal with this day and what goals you want to set for the day, and then you go live it. And so I think that's extremely beneficial because the rest of your day will go so much better if you open it with prayer and open it with like a reality check. So yeah, that's all I pretty much got.
I
for me.
also provide the alternate angle of doing a nightly examine, which is a little bit retroactive. A daily examine is good in any capacity, but a nightly examine composes more of how did I do this day? It's more of an examination of conscience than an examination of presence. And so a nightly examine looks like I sit down with myself, I look at what I did today, where I've been good, where I've been bad, where I could have maybe been called higher, how I reacted to different situations, things like that. And that really helps me because then the next day, if you figured that, you've probably pissed off your fiance or something like that, you can go and apologize early in the morning. Or, whatever, something. But a nightly examine helps. I've also, this year, I've resolved not to look at my phone the first thing in the morning. So my alarm goes off, and then I get out of bed, say my two little quick prayers, and takes me about a minute and a half to, really like wake up, and then we pop out of bed and we go do something other than scroll on the phone, unless Pete Thamel or one of them has posted something extremely crazy. This morning it was Mike McDaniel, but something like that. So what a good good two different ways of doing the PPP, and both very, very relevant to life.
Yeah, I think with that being said, we're gonna Wow, what's the word to move forward?
No, just let him.
Yep,
just
go
let
for it.
him.
Press the button.
No. I mean, just let him figure it out. Keep going.
Transform, transport,
Ladies and gentlemen,
change.
the shepherd
What
of
word
the
is
week.
it?
Just
Help me.
Folks, Cole Visit is off in another world. But
My
we are
brain
going to
just
talk
died.
about our shepherd of the week, which provided the two of those folks, not myself, a lot of misery within the last week. But from us, we can learn a lot of lessons from him. It is not only future #1 overall draft pick, Heisman Trophy winner in 2025, and Rose Bowl winner, Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. And, folks, I did not choose this. Cole chose this
I did.
after his team got beat 38-3 by this man, and he was so classy about the way that he just took belt to butt to every Alabama player that Cole just had to make him the Shepherd of the Week. Cole, why is Fernando Mendoza our Shepherd of the Week?
I think one of the coolest things about Fernando Mendoza is the fact that he got all of his Catholic Hoosiers the priests VIP passes to the field for all these games this season. Like,
So Fernando is confirmed Catholic?
He's very
Yes,
he's
very Catholic.
very
Very
Catholic, very devout Catholic. They had a whole watch party at the Hoosier Catholic Center.
When he won the Heisman, he took it back and he posted on his LinkedIn a picture because he's a LinkedIn legend. Shout out Fernando. But he posted on his LinkedIn a picture of him at his Newman Center at IU with the priests and the Heisman Trophy right there. It's right there. Was that not it? I can't see him halfway. Nope, that's not it.
I got a notification
It's
from
literally
Fernando Mendoza,
look at
and I was
see
like,
all
"What is
posts.
happening?"
Look at see all posts. Because he's tagged on the thing right there. There you go. Boom.
Is that not crazy?
Scroll down. Is it not in there anymore?
Oh man, it was on
man.
his LinkedIn.
It definitely was on his LinkedIn,
I
yeah.
saw it too.
When are those posts from? When are those posts dated?
A year ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Because he's definitely also posted
Maybe it's
since
the
then.
wrong
So
LinkedIn.
yeah, I don't know. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I think somebody that really exemplifies what like a daily habit
There
is
you go.
and discipline. Oh, can
There you
you
go.
like
He's got
you
it.
can't
He
turn
can't
to the
pull it up
camera.
'cause
Yeah,
it's
but
copyrighted. But
yeah.
continue.
But I think like somebody that shows discipline and daily habits and like joy in the process is Fernando Mendoza. I mean, he played for Cal and they had their bowl game and they went like 7-6, but they won their bowl game. And he's over there and he is the exact same way every single time he wins this game. It sounds like he's exasperated, like completely out of breath. And he's like, I'm just so thankful for God in this moment and everything. And that's exactly how he sounds.
So thankful for this
Yeah,
team,
yeah,
for these brothers. They come into work every single day.
And his voice cracks and
If
it's
you
awesome.
don't know what we're talking about, go look
Oh
up
my
the video of
gosh.
Fernando Mendoza post-game
He's
interview.
just such a bundle of joy, even when he's losing. And it's like, it's so cool to watch and it hurts to lose to him. But it's like just in that time to see his classiness and his joy for his brother when his brother got subbed in and threw a touchdown on us as well. Like,
Yeah, if you guys, folks, Alabama fans especially, if you guys were, thankful that Fernando was going to leave after this year, I'm sorry. He has a brother, and
Yes.
he does play for Indiana.
yes, they are.
this may be a hot take. So whatever.
Here we
This may
go.
be the hottest take ever, but Kurt Signetti, I don't think is going to be one of those coaches that is at Indiana for a while. I don't think he's going to be like, was it Nebraska that was really randomly good in the 70s for like 5 years? Like they won like a couple national titles in a row or something like that.
I think they were good for longer than that, but
But I don't think it's going to be like one of those programs where he builds a legacy there. I think this is a stepping stone, sadly for him. I think he goes to a bigger school, and that's simply just
to put in our football podcast opinions, I disagree with Evan in the fact that Kurt Signetti is not going to go to a bigger college. If he leaves, he will be going to the NFL. But Cole, back to our boy
that's true.
Fernando Mendoza. We talked about never change your life until you change something daily. When he has these post-game interviews, obviously he's going to be like, we're the flipping champs. It's another quote by Fernando. He obviously talks about winning, but he talks so much about like, these guys come in, day out. They do the work. They do the little things every single day. That's been the message of our podcast here in this episode, is you have to do the daily things. That's what changes your life. Little things daily, step by step, and not just these big, massive goals that you hope to accomplish magically. You have to do the little things. That's what Fernando harps on, and shout out his perseverance. If anybody watched the Big Ten title in 2025, first play of that game, I don't know if you guys remember, he got absolutely murdered.
This year?
Yes, by an Ohio State player. Destroyed. He came out for one play, folks.
Mm-hmm.
That is a man right there. That is a man.
Yeah. No, that replay, I remember they they had like the camera on where his head fell, and like you could see his like face rattling around when his head hit the ground. I was like, dang, that's tough. But anyway, so Shepherd of the Week, Fernando Mendoza, obviously, Roll Tide, but I would like to see them win. It always is nice when you get beat by, the team that goes on to win. I also just have personal vendettas against both Miami and Ole Miss.
I unfortunately would not like to see Indiana win a national championship.
But anyway,
currently.
final thoughts on the episode before we wrap up with some reminders and that Nazario.
I have a final thought that I've kind of been raveling with, but you talked about it. You talked about, hey, there's the 3-14 Cardinals, there's the 14-13 team as well, and they both have goals they set out during the season or before the season. They go in, they do their work. There are people all over the world who set out to do these things. They set out to do this. At the end of the day, there's one college football national champion. There's one NFL champion. Only one of them accomplishes the major goal. Major goal. But the point is, no matter what happens, no matter how hard you work, doesn't matter how many times Cole and I get in that gym, doesn't matter how many times we wake up early in the morning to go do this, doesn't matter what you do, failure still comes, failure still exists. It does not matter. And that is the final message. It might be a bleak one. It might be more of a negative message, but it is a reality. No matter what goal you set out for, no matter what you try to accomplish, there is going to be failure somewhere. And you have to be able to know that is possible so that when it comes, we know how to handle it. And I think that's what part of the New Year's resolution vendetta that you have to it. You just said vendetta, so I think that's why it was in my head.
Mhm.
But it's because these people set these goals, and then when they fail, they don't ever get back up.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had plenty of episodes about how do you get up from failure, but I think it's just the final thing that I want to put on this episode is that failure is going to come. You still have to be prepared and know that it's going to come and how to respond to it. And, yeah, that's kind of like, I feel like we've talked about a lot, and I feel like that's the one angle that's a little bit, different of us part.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it goes back to practice makes perfect. And when you practice, you're not practicing everything all at once, because that's not how practice works. You're practicing, for me, soccer, you're practicing passing, shooting, how you angle your foot when you're shooting a power shot, how you shoot a curve shot, how you evaluate the field, how you look into space. I mean, there's so many different things to take into play, and that's how you should look at your faith. Practice makes perfect. Practice praying, practice singing, practice all these different things that build your faith. Practice receiving the sacraments more often. I mean, all of these things, and that should be looked at. Your every day should be practice, not just in your faith, but in your treating your body well. And all these different things should be practice for the ultimate spiritual goal of heaven. So, yeah.
Yeah. I really have no final thoughts. But remember to like, comment, subscribe, Instagram, on what is it? Spotify,
Apple
Podcasts, YouTube.
What's that one? iHeartRadio, Amazon Music,
But
wherever you find your
remember
podcast.
also, what about them? Oh, we also have merch on our website, linked in the Instagram, linked in the TikTok, linked in the YouTube, linked in, all of our websites. We have bracelets that we will send you if you ask us. We have T-shirts. As a reminder, in the next few weeks, 2 weeks, we'll set 2 weeks from now, because honestly, after that, the semester gets really hairy. 2 weeks from now, we will do a podcast fishbowl question. What is that called?
Q&A,
Q&A. We'll do a
Mailbag?
Q&A. We'll do a mailbag episode. That's the word I'm looking for.
AMA, Ask Me Anything.
Yeah, we'll do a mailbag episode. We'll put some slips in the Saving Center. We'll get
And if you're
some
not
of that.
here in Alabama, send a DM, send
Yeah,
an email.
Send an email.
There are many other ways. This is 2026, people, not 2025. You can message us in different
And
ways.
I will have something on the story that says questions for the podcast. And so if you want to just stay updated with our story,
Multiple
you can do it.
days we will have that in order so that, we unfortunately abide by Instagram's 24-hour story policy.
Yep.
So we'll throw it up there a couple times just to make sure that people can see it. So, but without that and with no further ado, this has been episode number 74 of the Lost Sheep podcast. Thank you and God bless.